going on, people? Welcome back to Nick J. Francis' channel once again. No time for a long intro. Arsenal just beat Leeds 4-1. And it's like anything that Man City do, we can do too. Do you know what I'm saying? Man City beat Liverpool 4-1 today, and we come back and we rose to the occasion and beat Leeds 4-1 as well. And the atmosphere, I'm not going to lie, was a little bit subdued. It was a little bit of a slow start. It's not normally what we expect from Arsenal. But once we got that first goal, courtesy of Gabi Jesus, that lifted the crowd and lifted the whole team. And then from there, we just sort of ran away with it. They did get a consolation goal, courtesy of a deflection. But listen, it's not always going to be perfect. But we keep marching on. 9 games left. And all season, being an Arsenal fan means battling with narratives. All season, there's narratives that Arsenal were only this good because other teams have fallen away, or Arsenal were overrated, or Arsenal going through a purple patch, or whatever the situation is. We have to battle all types of narratives. And to give you lot some facts and stats and statistics right now, Arsenal are currently on 72 points in the league, and no Pep Guardiola Manchester City team has ever been on this points tally at this point in the league. So what they're doing as a team is amazing. Away from other teams falling away, what this team's been able to do to gather this many points at this stage is huge. And in terms of overall goals scored, we've scored 70 goals. The only other team to score more is Man City with 71. And the next highest scorer is a Tottenham with 52. So we are far and away, us and Man City are nearly 20 goals ahead of everybody else in the pack. And obviously Man City have that freak that is Erling Haaland, who's just running away with the golden boot this season. So what this team's done deserves respect. Winning the title or not, what this team has done, what Mikel Arteta has done in a relatively short period of time deserves a huge amount of respect. Now, on to this game, it was big because there's arguments about whether, do you want to be in terms of a title race, do you want to be the people to set the pace, or do you want to be the people to kind of react to the race? Man City set the pace early, and I have to say, Liverpool, I don't want to use the word capitulated, but they did capitulate. They reminded me of the Arsenal teams of the past couple seasons, maybe under Emery or different things like that, where they went a goal up, and once they came up against sort of adversity, once City started to fight back, they couldn't really up the level. They just sort of had one level that they could play at, one gear, and they couldn't go up multiple gears, and that was the difference. City, it was close in the first half, and when they came out for the second half, they scored in the first 30 seconds of the second half. And then that was it. They just absolutely ran away with it. Jack Grealish is a player that I've been very critical of. I haven't massively rated him. Not his whole career. He's good at what he does, but I do think he's a bit overrated. Maybe English bias, whatever you want to call it. But he ran the show today. He absolutely ran the show today. And, you know, obviously I was hoping Liverpool could win, maybe even get a draw. But once they lost, had to turn my attention to this Arsenal Leeds game and think, okay, cool, let's play catch up with them. Do you know what I'm saying? Gabriel Jesus, man of the match, coming back from a big injury in the World Cup. He's been out for several months. He comes back. I know he's had some minutes before, but he comes back with his first start, I think, since his injury, and gets himself a brace. First goal, clear penalty. There's people debating on Twitter, as people on Twitter are always going to do, but it's a clear penalty. The guy, Luke Ayling, studs him in his knee, and there's a bit of a kick out. He goes for the slide. Then when he knows that he's been beaten, he does a second kick out. And yes, Gabi Jesus goes over easy because that's what you have to do in the Premier League to get the penalty. But kicking somebody with your studs up high in their knee is a foul. And unfortunately, if Gabi Jesus doesn't fall over, maybe that penalty doesn't get given. But even if he stays on his feet, that should be a foul and that should be a penalty. So he gets his first goal. And then, like I say, he gets a brace. Ben White also scores and Granit Xhaka scores to seal it 4-1. And, you know, one thing I've been critical of Mikel Arteta, you know, I don't want to just be a fanboy and be constantly positive. I want to think my way through this game. That's what I enjoy about football, the technical side of football. And one thing I've always criticised Mikel Arteta for is not rotating the squad, running the squad into the ground. But the way he's been rotating since January has been so much better. Obviously, we do have injuries. We have people coming back from injury. Saka got not dropped, but he got rested today because that idiot Southgate played him for the full 90 in the England team, and it was totally unnecessary to do so. And yeah, he got rotated, and I like the way that we're rotating the squad at the moment. And that is all down to the recruitment. That's down to bringing in Trossard. That's down to bringing in Zinchenko, Jesus. That's down to bringing in Jorginho. So we now have players that we can rotate and not necessarily drop the quality of the squad too much. You know, maybe they don't start, you know, but you know, like I say, we can rotate the squad in ways that we haven't been able to do so before. So that's really fresh. That's new for us. And so I'll give Mikel Arteta a lot of credit, but I give the club a lot of credit as well for bringing these players in. And Leeds just couldn't really live with us, to be honest with you. Across the 90 minutes, in the first half, it looked a little bit close. It was 1-0 at half time. But in the second half, we really started sourcing. You know, once we started clicking and the confidence started growing, Ben White getting his second goal of the season, which is big for a right back, getting amongst the goals and getting that confidence up and stuff like that. You know, going forwards, even when Tomiyasu's back, Ben White should just be our starting right back as far as I'm concerned, and anybody else should be cover. And now we've got Liverpool next. You know, like I say, we saw Liverpool fall away and capitulate. It's going to be really interesting. We play them in 8 days. We've got a lot of time for our team to recover. We play them next week, Sunday on the 9th. And what's really going to be interesting is to see how they set up against us. They will have the mental edge over us because they have absolutely thumped us in the league for the last several seasons. We haven't been able to beat them in the league for a very long time. We've beat them in cup games, and I think we've drawn against them and had some really good games in the cup. But in the league, we really struggle against Liverpool. But that being said, this is a different Liverpool team, and this is a different Arsenal team. You know, the mentality in this team is so different. Like I said, the second most goals scored and the most points gathered amongst most teams at this position. You know, we look at Man City there, they've been so good under Pep Guardiola, but never have they had 72 points at this point in the season. So we should be going into every game very confident. In terms of the last 9 games that we have now, we do have Man City at the Etihad, we have Liverpool at Anfield, and we have Chelsea at the Bridge. But we should be going into all of these games with supreme confidence and believing in ourselves, because what we've done so far has been absolutely amazing. So Rob Holding again stepping up. In the absence of Saliba, we don't know when Saliba's going to be back, but Rob Holding is stepping up and doing his job perfectly well. I think he could have maybe been a little bit more aggressive and step into the player for the goal that we conceded. But like I say, there was a lucky deflection in the first place anyway. So, but 9 games left. That's all we've got. 9 games left. And I think from this position, we have to be the heavy favourites. You know, we saw with Liverpool getting that early goal against Man City, you can get at this Man City team. They didn't even look that comfortable, to be honest with you. They were so good going forwards. Defensively, I think that you can get at them. Pep Guardiola started 4 centre-backs. I know Nathan Ake is a centre-back / left-back, but he had John Stones at right-back. You know, throughout the game, there was like the 4 centre-backs that were starting. You know, it was a strange shape. It worked out for them in the end. But I think if you play someone like a John Stones at right-back against us, I think he could run into all types of problems, because Gabby Martinelli is going to run him. Gabby Martinelli as well has to get a shout out. You know, when we went into this game, again, we talk about being an Arsenal fan and having narratives thrust upon you. The talk was Gabby Martinelli can get goals, but he can't get assists. He doesn't create enough, and then he goes on and gets an assist today. You know, just like that. He's so integral to the team. He's really, him and Saka are both really undroppable at the moment, to be honest with you. Trossard obviously is super versatile. He comes in wherever we need him, but that starting 11 that we have is just so good, and we are dealing with every injury that comes at us. Injuries are coming at us at the most awkward time possible, but we're dealing with them as they come thick and fast. We're just batting them away and dealing with the situation. Do you know what I mean? There's a real maturity around this team. There's a real hope and belief around this team, and I have to give so much credit to Mikel Arteta for what he's built over the last couple seasons. And to be honest with you, this isn't even this team's final form. There's lots of talk of, is Saka world class or not? He's doing it at international level, but we haven't seen him in the Champions League. Lots of people think that international level and the World Cup is actually more prestigious and higher than the Champions League. So for me, he's a world-class player. I have no doubt that he can do it in the Champions League, but obviously we will see that next season when we're actually in the Champions League, which is pretty much a foregone conclusion. That is going to happen. But having these players go and sign new contracts, Gabby signed his contract, getting Saliba and Saka's contracts over the line, getting Saka big money and getting him into that Champions League position next year is going to be huge, because like I said, I don't even think that this team is really at its final form just yet. You know, I still think there are some improvements that can happen to the overall squad, and if we can win this title, the way that we will go into next season with supreme confidence everywhere, and anywhere that we go will be huge. So I'm really excited about that. But for now, we have to focus on these games. You know, City still have Champions League games. They still have to play Bayern Munich, and if they get through Bayern Munich, they'll have more Champions League games to play. We don't have this problem. We can just focus on the next 8 days against playing Liverpool. And like I say, there's been a mental block against us playing Liverpool for some time. But Gabby Martinelli always shows up against Liverpool. Trent hates defending against him, and Trent again was not really that great today. So I'm really confident against Liverpool. You know, this should be a game where we go in and we should, you know, we may well concede. They have Salah, Gakpo, they have Jota, who loves a goal against us. They have Firmino, who's so talented. They've got great attacking options, but we should dominate the midfield against them. Their midfield looks very weak and very easy to get at. And then, like, we know Trent's defensive ineptitudes, if you like. So I'm confident in that game, but going into this game against Leeds, I was very nervous, but we just swept them aside. You know, once we get that first goal, that's it. If we can score first against almost any team, I'm confident that we will go on to win the game. That's any team in the world. If we score first, we really shouldn't be letting, you know, obviously we saw against Bournemouth, we concede first, we have to fight back, etc., etc. We have a bit of that siege mentality that we've seen in Liverpool in the past, but if we do actually take the ascendancy, we go up a goal, maybe even 2 goals up, I don't see anybody pushing us backwards. It just doesn't really tend to happen. So I'm confident, you know, from this position, like I say, 9 games left, we should be winning the league 100% from where we are at the moment. It will feel like a huge failure from this position to not win the league. But I think that we do it. Do you know what I mean? Like 100%, I think that we do it. We do have a difficult run of games, but City have just as difficult a run of games. And at the moment, I do feel like we are a better overall team and playing better football than City. They have a better squad than us overall, but I think we are playing better football. And the stats and the statistics show that we're playing much better football, and our goals are spread across our whole team when their goals are very, very focused into a couple of players. So that's all I've got time for. Let me know who your man of the match was. For me, like I say, it's got to be Gabby Jesus. The mental strength that you need to come back from an injury like that. He had a young child at the time, and he's just, you know, to deal with everything that he's dealing with. There's a bit of a documentary on the Arsenal website as well to go and look at about his recovery, and to come back and just start scoring straight away. He only had 5 goals for the club when he was injured, and he's come back, and I think he's scored 3 since he's come back already. So, you know, really, really good mental strength from him. And that's what we talk about. When we talk about leaders, not just captains that shout and all the rest of it, but, you know, that's a different type of leader. And at the moment in this team, we have so many different types of leaders. And that's why I think that that's why I think that this mentality and this quality of the squad has come from, because everybody in that team takes the lead in a different way. Some through talking, some through showing it on the pitch, some through showing it in the back room, on the training pitch, you know, but everyone's a leader in their own right. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I feel so connected to this team at this moment in time. But yeah, let me know who you think man of the match is, and are we going to win the league? That's the big question everyone's asking, regardless of whether you're an Arsenal fan or a City fan or a neutral fan. Who do you think wins the league, and who do you want to win the league? Do you know what I mean? I'm really curious to see about that. But that's all I've got time for. I'm going to be on DR Sports tonight covering the AJ fight, so check me out there. Peace.